are you doing? Welcome to Retro Games. Can I help you with anything today? Ah, yes, that's right. I knew you were familiar from somewhere. Ah, yes, you were here a couple months ago. You got the Pokemon game, yeah. Right. Yes, I apologize. I totally forgot. I mean, I see so many people come in and day out. It's hard to remember faces sometimes. You understand? Yeah, exactly. But nonetheless, how'd you like the game? How was it? Yeah, good. I'm glad that I was able to make a Pokemon fan for life. It's I take pride in that very much. But nonetheless, you're back here for a new game. Okay, cool. Well, that's perfect because I have a new batch of games that are on sale. Older games, if you're still interested in the older games genre. This is retro games, so we're always promoting these older games. You are. Perfect. Great. So I've got a stack of games here. Two different platforms. I have PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2. Are you interested in one or the other or both? Okay, yeah, so I can definitely show you both. Do you prefer PlayStation 3 first, or doesn't matter? Okay. So let's go through the PlayStation 3 first, last gen, so if you find something you like, we can just stop there and you don't have to hear my whole sales spiel and waste your time. Right. Time is precious, I understand that. So the first game I have here, we're going to start off guns blazing because I'm not holding back anything today, with a game that has won Game of the Year, and it's been remastered for the PlayStation 4 because that's how good of a game this was, and that is The Last of Us. The Last of Us. This is a great game. I mean, if you're going to pick any game today, this is the one I recommend. It's a wonderful game that takes place in a post-apocalyptic world with zombies. But it's nothing like The Walking Dead. There's more focus on the zombies in the game. I think they call them the infected, and there's a large focus on them. They have the human drama element as well, of course, but it's very different from The Walking Dead. Yeah, I agree. That is a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. You don't want to play The Walking Dead, especially the way it's been stale recently. But this game I highly recommend it. Let me read you the little synopsis here on the back. It says, Joel and Ellie, brought together by harsh circumstance, must survive a brutal journey across the U.S. and a dangerous post-pandemic world. Essentially, Joel is he's in his 40s, so he's an older gentleman, and he teams up with Ellie, who is a sort of teenager with attitude, I guess you could say. And the two of them make for a very interesting combination. And there's a lot more to that, obviously. I'm just giving you kind of the general overview. There's way more than that, but it's a great game. Looks visually stunning. You won't regret getting it, I promise you. So I'm just going to put this over here to the side. And the next game is one that's almost as good. It's called Red Dead Redemption. Now this game is wonderful in its own sort of way. It's made by Rockstar, the same company that makes Grand Theft Auto, the Grand Theft Auto series. So the engine in this game is very, very similar to that engine. Think of it as you're playing Grand Theft Auto, but it's in the Wild West. So it's like cowboys and Indians and that sort of thing. It's in the early 1900s. Let me read you the little synopsis here. America, 1911. The Wild West is dying. When federal agents threaten his family, former outlaw John Marston is forced to pick up his guns again and hunt down the gang of criminals he once called friends. Experience an epic fight for survival across the sprawling expanses of the American West and Mexico. As John Marston struggles to bury his blood-stained past, one man at a time. Outlaws to the end. And you can see the little graphics on the back here. It's a very fascinating game. It's got great storytelling, great mechanics. And it's also a lot of fun to play. Running around, stealing people's horses. That sort of thing. So, if you're into the Wild West, definitely pick this bad boy up. Next we have Street Fighter 4, the Ultimate version. Ultimate Street Fighter. If you remember the classic Marvel vs. Capcom games that you could play in grocery stores and arcades, this is a modern day version of that, essentially. You've got all the classic characters returning, like Ryu and Ken, Chun-Li, and then the addition of a bunch of new characters. Overall, it's just a really fun game to play. At this point, playing online is probably not an option since it's an older game, but playing the campaign and that sort of thing is still going to be a lot of fun. But the controls are difficult, so this requires a degree of patience, let's just put it that way. Okay, next we have Tekken 6, another fighting game, albeit this is a little more realistic, I guess you could say. Obviously, none of these games are realistic in a sense, but obviously, none of these games are realistic in actuality, but compared to Street Fighter, this is a lot more realistic. There's less emphasis on supernatural abilities and more emphasis on the actual art of martial arts. So let me read you the synopsis here on the back. This is your fight. 40 powerful fighters to master. Robust online arena to duel against fighters from around the world. Action-packed scenario campaign mode. Endless possibilities to customize and design your ultimate fighter. And that's what's interesting about this game. It is the fact that you can do the classic route of just fighting people in a versus mode, but there's also a campaign mode where you take control of a character named Lars, who is a new addition to this game, and essentially it's a storyline that you advance through. It's really fun. Good story too. And if you've never played a fighting game, this is a good place to start because it's a little less difficult than Street Fighter. It has less emphasis on combos and more emphasis on actual martial arts. Albeit it's still a little bit exaggerated, but it's still fun nonetheless. Okay, now let's move on to the PlayStation 2 games I have set up over here. This one's gonna be a little bit weird, but bear with me. SmackDown. Here comes the pain. Now, whether you're a wrestling fan or not, this is a really fun game to play. It's sort of an arcade-style wrestling game, so it's not as realistic as what you would see on TV. It's a lot more fast-paced, but people in the wrestling community, myself included, we all agree that this is probably one of the best wrestling games ever created. It's a lot of fun. So if you ever wanted to try a wrestling game, I recommend picking this one up. And if you're not a wrestling fan, that's even better because then it won't matter to you how outdated this roster is. Okay, next I have Final Fantasy X. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the Final Fantasy series. This is considered to be one of the best games amongst the community. I feel the same way anyway. If you've never played Final Fantasy, essentially it's an RPG style game with a real strategic component to it. It's a turn-based combat system, though. So, if you're not into that, you may not like this game. But it's a very vibrant story in a fantasy universe. So if you like RPGs, you'll like this game for sure. Next, I have Tekken 5 for the PlayStation 2. If you want a cheaper version, you can go with this one instead of Tekken 6, but I recommend just getting Tekken 6 for the PlayStation 3. There's virtually no difference between the games besides better graphics and such, so. Or you can pick up both. Tekken 5 we're only selling this game for $5, so if you've got nothing to lose. I don't actually remember if this one has a campaign or what the campaign's centered around, but if there is a chronological order, then you would want to get this game as well, so you can go in order. Okay, next I have Def Jam V for Vendetta. Well, it's not really V for Vendetta, it's just called Def Jam Vendetta, but I couldn't help but make that reference. I apologize. So this is another fighting-based game, and it's centered around, it's a unique concept. Different hip-hop and rap artists are actually real-life hip-hop and rap artists are implemented in this fighting game in a sort of fictional universe where they fight for the streets, essentially, to be number one in the streets. I don't remember it that well, but yeah, it's money, power, respect. There's a cinematic story, over 40 street brawlers battle to the top with over 1,500 moves. And you've got a lot of different hip-hop artists in this game. I think Ludacris is in this game, Method Man. I don't know if Snoop Dogg is in this game. He's in the next edition, Def Jam Fight for New York. That's the one that I'm very familiar with, and Snoop Dogg is the final boss in that game, but I don't think he is in this one. Nonetheless, it's a cool little fictional universe of what would happen, I guess you could say. It's a lot of fun. It's like a wrestling game with hip-hop artists, essentially. It's a little out there, but I think it works. Okay. And finally, the last game that I have here for you today is one that is actually near and dear to my heart. Spent so many hours on this game as a teenager in high school, and that is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. You may be asking, well, why don't you show me Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 1, or Tenkaichi 3, or Dragon Ball Z Budokai, or Budokai 2, or Budokai 3, or any of the new Dragon Ball Z games for that matter? There's so many. Well, this game is near and dear to my heart above all of those because it's got a massive roster, but above all that, there is a level system that I quite enjoy. You get to actually start. You play through the Dragon Ball Z timeline from Raditz all the way to Majin Buu, and I think you even go into GT, which is not canon, so who cares? But you get to level Goku up. You get to put in different items into his like little equipment slot thingy. Forget what you call it, but yeah, you get to, they have an actual level 25, level 26. I like that kind of stuff. Being able to measure how powerful your character actually is, because in the actual anime, everyone has a power level, so it only makes sense. And this is something that the other games never quite got. You know what I mean? Yeah, like Tenkaichi 3 came out a year later. It came out a year later, and they kind of just abandoned the level system, and I don't think they've ever returned to it, which I don't understand. I like knowing that my opponent is level 50 and I'm level 45. I know where I stand. I know where they stand. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's not really, it's not a hard concept, but they seem to have abandoned it. It's a cool RPG element that they included in the Game Boy games, but they took away from the PlayStation games for some reason. Although I think they returned that in the recent game, but I'm not sure. So, the most explosive fighting game ever. Unleash the power of more than 120 DBZ heroes and villains. More playable characters than any other fighting game from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT. The latest addition to the popular Budokai series can be summed up in 3 words. Bigger, better, badder. Live the complete adventure in a 60-hour enhanced story mode. There's a good story mode, yeah. It's really cool. I enjoyed it quite a bit. That covers the complete DBZ mythology, and as well as GT. Destroy 16 expansive battlefields with crushing blows, devastating power attack combinations, demolish your opponents with new moves and combinations, including in-game transformations, tag battles, and vanishing attacks. So, this game is really near and dear to my heart. It's got a great soundtrack that I can still, when I hear it, it just brings back so many memories. So it's great. So yeah, this is probably my 3rd recommendation for you to pick up. So that's all the games I got for you today that are on sale. So what do you think? Any of these games interest you? All right, cool. All right, Tenkaichi, and let's see, let me get it. It's all the way at the bottom, so it's gonna take me a little bit of time to get to it here, but The Last of Us, good choice. Yeah, this is a smart choice because you're getting not only 2 different kinds of games, 2 different genres, but you're also getting a PlayStation 3 game and a PlayStation 2 game, and you can't go wrong. You're getting, you're getting steak, but you're also getting pizza, burgers, pizza, cupcakes, apple pie. You're getting the best of both worlds. So there's really no losing here. Perfect. So let me back these up for you, and you can be on your way. And yeah, thank you for coming to Retro Games. If you ever want to apply for a customer rewards card, please just let me know. I'm not going to pressure you to sign up for one now like some other stores. GameStop. But when you feel ready, next time you come back in, hey, just let me know. My name is Randy. I'm at the front desk all the time. I work like 50 hours a week. My boss never gives me a day off, so I'll be here. And just let me know. And we can get you signed up and get you some extra discounts. How's that sound? Great. Awesome. Let me just back this up and then, hey, enjoy your new game. Let me know how you like it because I have a feeling you're really going to enjoy it. All right. Yeah. Cool. All right. Perfect. So, let me get these and